Walk with me.
I waited patiently for the I am. And he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon the rock and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, and shall trust in the I am. Blessed is the man that maketh the I am his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Tata and Zambi, my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which thou art to usward. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee if thou would declare and speak them. They are more than can be numbered. Yes. Sacrifice and offerings thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Burnt offerings and sin offerings hast thou not required. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation. Lo, I have not refrained my lips. O Sanini Nanini, thou knowest. I have not hid righteousness within my heart. I have declared thy faithfulness and thy salvation. And I have not concealed thy loving kindness, thy truth from the great congregation. Withhold not thy tender mercies from me, O Tata and Zambi. Let thy loving kindness and thy truth continually preserve me. For innumerable evils have compassed me about. My iniquities have taken upon me, so that I am not able to look upon, and they are more than the hairs of mine head. Therefore my heart faileth me. Be pleased, O Yahweh, to deliver me. O Yahweh, make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. And let them be driven backwards and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate for a reward of their shame that say unto me, Aha. And let all those that seek and rejoice be glad in thee, such as love thy salvation, say continually, the I am be blessed, the I am be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the I am thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my deliverer, and make no tarrying, O my God. Psalms chapter 40. Yes, and deliver me from the hands of the evil spirits who have sway over the hearts of the thoughts of men, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed forever, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12, verse 20, prayer of David. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on TikTok and YouTube, I'm TClay213 on TikTok, and I am Mr. Clay on YouTube. And we thank God for you, and those who have been with us from the beginning. We thank God for you. Yes, you have a great discernment in the Word of God, and you have a good resume there and a background to boot. And we thank God for those of you that have just joined us or here and there just about. We thank God for you that you have done the same, and you're continually building up that word that's within you, that it might come forth out of you as living waters. Yes. And we thank God for those of you that have just subscribed or followed, and those of you that are about to subscribe or follow. We call those things that are not as though they are. Yes. Yes. We're in Jubilees. Not Jubilees, but Jasher, the book of Jasher. I'm trying to get this right here. Chapter 8. Yes, Jubilees chapter 8. Yes, Jubilees chapter 8, and we're in verse 2. We finished with verse 1. But anyway, let us go on to this. We're going to, we have a feast of unleavened bread. That means no leaven. You can get all the leaven out your house. Those of you that will do it or practice it or whatever you want to call yourself doing. And we have the Sabbat, the lunar Sabbat coming on, or Sabbatini. We got that coming even on Sunday. Yes, and after that is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, or the Passover, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread thereafter. Yes, yes, yes. We thank God for you, you, and you. And also, we want to get into, we'll be going through what they call the Apocrypha, but really it's the Bible. They call it the Apocrypha, but we're going to the book of Esdras after this and read all the books. We're going to go through all. This is an ongoing thing, an ongoing series. It will never stop as far as I have some type of social media and as far as I live. Either one. It will continue, whether it be on my own .com or .org, or either whether it be on a social media platform. Yes, we're going to continue this because it's a good thing. It may be a few that even listen to these things, but one is better than zero. And to God, it's reaching who he wanted to reach. Yes, and that's the biggest thing about it. You don't make it up. Your likes or whatever you put in there doesn't mean a hill of beans, but the life that it generates through you is what God intends. And that's who is striking, those whom he is building up for himself. That's what it is, so that they may be impervious to the arrows of the enemy or the bullets of the enemy that will come at them with the word of God, and they come with false histories and false doctrines and false teachings. And God will have built them up to the point where even you, if you followed and if you built yourself up in the most holy teachings and doctrines of the Most High, not wavering in those things and constantly asking God to show you the way and following his statutes, commandments, and ordinances, even his law. Yes, you will be like a tree planted by the rivers and not be moved. Yes. Now, we're in the book of Jasher, chapter 8 and verse 2. After they had given a party and everything, they rejoiced with terror that night. And verse 2 says, when all the wise men and conjurers went out from the house of terror, they lifted up their eyes toward heaven that night to look at the stars, and they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran in the heavens, and he swallowed up the 4 stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. And all the wise men of the king and his conjurers were astonished at the sight. And the sages understood this matter, and they knew its import or importance. And they said to each other, this only betokens the child that has been born to Terah this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possess all the earth. And he and his children forever, and he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their lands. And the wise men and conjurers went home that night. And in the morning, all these wise men and conjurers rose up early and assembled in an appointed house. And they spoke and said to each other, behold, the sight that we saw last night is hidden from the king. It has not been made known. Does this not tell you about the first part about the book of Revelation? And then it goes back to the Gospels, even Herod. Sometimes you wonder if there's a dead cat on the line, and then you go back to the Egyptians, gods, and all these things that they have done, how it might be devils that, more likely it's devils that have mocked this whole scenario. Because this was before the Egyptian kingdom even rose. Some say, well, the earth is millions of years old. That's a lie. I would say other words, but it's a lie. It's a dead cat on the line lie. To confuse you. I mean, these people are spending zillions, uncountless millions and trillions of dollars just to confuse the children of Jacob. To make themselves look like they're someone when they're nobody. And before you become somebody, you have to become nobody. Now, from the king, it has not been made known to them in verse 7. And should this thing get known to the king in the latter days, he will say to us, why have you concealed this matter from me? And then we shall all suffer death. Therefore, now let us go and tell the king the sight which we saw and the interpretation thereof, and we shall then remain clear. Now the king was Nimrod. Mizraim was one of his kinsmen. This story had to be told and run all over the world or his kingdom, and people knew of him. Come on here, let's get it right. And they did so, and all went to the king and bowed down to him to the ground, and they said, "May the king live, and may the king live." And we heard that the son was born to Terah, the son of Nahor, the prince of thy host. And we yesterday, for those of you who can't understand Old English, came to his house, and we ate and drank and rejoiced with him that night. And when thy servants went out from the house of Terah to go to our respective homes to abide there for the night, we lifted up our eyes to heaven, and we saw the great star coming from the east, and the same star ran with great speed and swallowed up the 4 great stars from the 4 sides of the heaven. And thy servants were astonished at the sight which we saw, and were greatly terrified. We made our judgment upon the sight, and we knew our wisdom and proper interpretation thereof, that this thing applies to the child that is born to Terah, who will grow up and multiply greatly and become powerful. And kings and all the kings of the earth will inherit all their lands, and he and his seeds forever. He's not talking about that time where King Solomon and David and all of them came together. No, he's not talking about that. He's talking about this seed that shall endure till the end. He's talking about this seed that God has chose out of many, out of billions, trillions. He's talking about this seed. Yes, these people who will follow his laws, statutes, and ordinances and seek to know the truth, sweeping the house until they sweep every last drop of dust, until they find that precious penny to rejoice over it. That's the seed he's talking about. This is a chosen seed. No, you can call yourself all kind of names and say you're this and we are Jerusalem and we are this, we are Judah and all that. Doesn't matter. God has already chosen this seed. And brother, sister, you may not be it. Now, the only way we can even think about it is that we keep his commandments, statutes, judgments, and laws. Yes, those things. Now, verse 13, they say, if it seemeth good to the king to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before, there we go again, slaying the child. They actually slayed the child looking for him. It's really a seed, more than one. They was looking for him in Egypt. They looked for him in the books, in the Gospels, or what they call the Gospels. They looked for him everywhere. They looked for him in the book of Revelation. Couldn't find him. But then one day, this seed came. And he came with 10,000s of his seed, of the seed of Jacob, according to the book of Enoch. Yes. Thousands upon thousands he came. It's best to read Jacob than all that other stuff. That's nothing but Greek imagery. But either way, if it seemeth good to the king to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up and increase in the land, and his evil increase against us, that we and our children perish through his evil. And the king heard their words, and they seemed good in his sight, and he sent and called for Terah, and Terah came before the king. And the king said, Terah, I have been told that a son was yesternight born to thee after this manner, and was observed in the heavens at his birth. And now, therefore, give me the child, that we may slay him before his evil springs up against us. Like I said, evil. You can do good, but it's evil to someone else. You can do what's contained in the law, statutes, judgments, ordinances, commandments of the Most High, and it's evil to those who are contrary to it. Whereas what they do is evil to you. See, we're playing with words here. But what counts is the statutes, laws, commandments, ordinances, and commandments of the Most High. That's what counts. for he is righteous, regardless of what he does seems evil to you and your laws that you have concocted. Yes. Now he says, and I will give thee for his value in thy house full of silver and gold. This is how far he went. Now this is how far the nations went. This is why they're in 1948 they're where they are. Afraid, want to be counted as better. Lies come forth because want to be counted as better. Or someone whom they're not. In verse 17, and Terah answered the king and said to him, my lord and king, I have heard thy words, and thy servant shall do as the king desireth. But my lord and king, I will tell thee what happened to me yesternight, that I might see what thy advice the king shall give his servant. And then I will answer the king upon what he has just spoken. And the king said, speak. And Terah said to the king, Aon, son of Moret, came to me yesternight, saying, give to me the great and beautiful horse that the king gave thee, and I will give thee silver and gold and straw and parvin for his value. And I said to him, wait till I see the king concerning thy words, and behold, whatever the king saith, that will I do. And now, my lord and king, behold, I have made this thing known to thee, and the advice which my king will give unto his servants, that I will follow. And the king heard in the words of Terah, his son, or Terah, and his anger was kindled, and he considered him in the light of a fool. In other words, you stupid, man. And the king answered Terah and said, and he said to him, art thou so silly, ignorant, and deficient in understanding to do this thing, and to give thy beautiful horse for silver and gold, or even for straw and parvin? Some things are just better kept to yourself and enjoyed until the end of your days. Art thou so short of silver and gold that thou shouldest do this thing, because thou canst not obtain straw and parvin to feed thy horse? And what is silver and gold to thee, or straw or parvin, that thou should give away that fine horse which I gave thee, like which there is none to be had on the whole earth? Come on here. And the king left off speaking, and Terah answered the king, saying, like unto this has the king spoken to his servant. And I beseech thee, my lord and king, what is this which thou givest, and say it to me, saying, give thy son, that we may slay him? Now, Terah was being wise. Will I give thee silver and gold for his value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? He's saying, my son is worth this, is worth more than this too. You talking about the horse, now here's my son. I'm not going to give you my son. Who shall inherit me? He said, this is more than silver and gold. Surely then at my death, the silver and gold will return to my king who gave it. In other words, even in this land that we live in, the lands that you live in, they're going to take it back. It's going to be after your death, they might sell it. Anything can happen. He said, and when the king heard the words of Terah and the parable which he brought concerning the king, it grieved him greatly, because Terah was being wise. It was only the Most High that put this upon Terah's heart. And he was troubled at this thing, or vexed at this thing, and his anger burned within him. And Terah saw that the anger of the king was kindled against him. And he answered the king, saying, all I have is in the king's power. Whatever the king desires to do to his servant, that let him do. Yeah, even my son, he is in the king's power. Without value in exchange, he and his two brothers that are older than he. And the king said to Terah, no, but I will purchase thy younger son for a price. We ended at verse 29. This is a terrible temptation for Terah to give his son to a tyrant. And with that, we're going to say peace.